when we focus on the wrong competitor, it affects our disposition and affects our lives. This is a very, very interesting topic because it has to do with, a driver of a lot of achievement in people's lives. A lot of people achieve the things they achieve as a result of competition. They drive themselves, they push themselves, they are able to go beyond their limits because they are competing. But you see, there tend to be a lot of challenges when we don't actually define who we are competing with. And we end up exerting a lot of energy thinking that we are competing against other people. I'll give you an example. Imagine that a particular student is in a class, and the student is the best student in that class, and he scores 30% in an exam, and is the best student. Now, the next, in a class of say 50, so he's the best student, scored 30%. The next student to him scores 25, or let's just say 20. A clear 10-mark margin. And every other one struggled for between 20 and 0. Now, despite the fact that that person has scored 30, and is the best student, would you say the student has succeeded? No. 30 is not a pass mark under any circumstance. So, when you compete with other people, you measure yourself by other people's standards. The fact that you are better than people does not make you the best. It doesn't even make you a success. Just like somebody who scores 30% and is the best in the class. It does not mean that the student made a pass grade. So it's important that we understand that when we focus on the wrong competitor, it affects our disposition and affects our lives. I'd like to tell a story that inspired me. It's a story of Katie Ledecky. That's an athlete, a swimmer, who won world titles in Olympics. In 2012, I think that was when she won one of her titles. She's had more than 11 world records. More than 11 world records. Now, in 2012 Olympics, she had a world record for 400-meter freestyle swimming. She was able to complete the race in 3 minutes 38.37 seconds. Okay, so which means that clearly she was a winner, of course. Now, being the world champion, you ask yourself, where else do you go? Okay, you can find it easy to compete when you have someone you're trying to catch up with. So you're trying to struggle to meet up, struggle to beat the person, struggle to overtake. Okay, but when you're clearly the winner, who else is there to compete with? What else is your motivation to try? What else spurs you? As in, why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you try? You are the best. Okay, so if you try harder, who do you beat? That is it. Okay. So it's easy for her to become complacent and just feel that, well, I am the world leader. I have the world record, so many world titles. So what else? But you will not believe it that she practiced for 3 years. 3 years to beat her own record. 3 years to beat her own record. So she participated in the Rio 2016 Olympics and with one goal, to beat her own record. So she was going there to compete with nobody else but her. Meaning that there was nobody else that matched up to her anyway. So, in her mind, she saw herself as the only competitor to beat. It's interesting that she won that competition and beat her own record. Now, how did she do that? She practiced for 3 years with one goal in mind: to beat myself, to surpass myself, to become better than myself. So, a lot of times, the fact that we focus on other people don't mean that is the best we can do. When you finish surpassing every other person and you relax, it does not still mean that you have reached your best capacity. You're still on your way to achieving it. So, that was what she did. Now, in Rio 2016 Olympics, for her to beat any other person, all she had to do was complete the task in 4 minutes. Just complete it in 4 minutes. Why? Because the next person, second runner up, got it for 4 minutes, 1.23 seconds. All she had to do was finish in 4 minutes. But if she finished in 4 minutes, she would be worse than she was the last time. Because last time she finished 3 minutes, 58.37 seconds. So which means that she was not looking at any other person. She was focusing on herself. Now ask me, how many minutes did she use to beat herself? Just 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. But it's not about 2 seconds. It's about the fact that she was faster than she had ever been. So the point here is that you can do a lot more than you think you can do if you focus your attention in the right direction. Perhaps the reason you're performing the way you're performing is because you're focusing on other people. They may be good, but they are not the best that they can be. So when you focus a lot on people, you start to measure yourself by their standards. You start to see them as the gold standard of excellence. Whereas you have it in you to do better. The competition in life is you, not necessarily every other person. The healthiest competition is with yourself. Because if you lose to yourself, you can't hate yourself. Alright? You can't hate yourself. But if you lose to someone else, some part of you will resent the person that, I mean, what makes you think that you are better than me? So, if you can focus on yourself as your competition, then you will just try and be better. Now, it can also break one if you're competing with other people. A company comes up with a drink, maybe Zobo or something now, and their goal is to beat Coca-Cola in a year. Now, I would say that is a very big goal. Alright. Now, by competing with such a big brand, they may drive themselves aground because of their capacity. Now, what should they do? Start by competing yearly with their past record. Okay, we sold 1,000 this week, we're selling 2,000 next week, we're selling 50. Now, by the time they keep beating their record and keep increasing, they get to a point where they are big enough to start to compete with other brands. So, don't just jump into competition and focus on other people. Start by improving. Start by taking one step up after the other. Start by moving forward.